Now, let's talk about some tools for attacking. So with all this web attacking and dangers to websites and dangers to web applications, you might be asking yourself right now, how can I hack websites? Well, one of the major tools to hack websites, and it's actually very fun to use, is Burp Suite. Burp Suite, it supports everything in the application hacking, application testing process. Both of those, right? Hacking, testing, same thing, different perspective. You can map it out, you can analyze it, the attack surface, and then you can use it to find all kinds of vulnerabilities and weaknesses when you're working with a website. This is a very good tool. This is one of the tools that I would suggest learning, getting to know and understand how to use Burp Suite. Another tool that is very good for testing web applications is OWASP Zap. Very nice tool. It's a Z. Zap stands for Z Attack Proxy. Allows you to find security vulnerabilities and use those to hack a website. And then the all-around mega tool used for every type of hacking you can imagine is Metasploit. There's good old Nikto. What I like doing with Nikto is doing the initial scan, finding pages of a site that are vulnerable, and then using other tools to make use of those vulnerabilities. Sniper, Wisp, and other tools can help you with web application attacks. All right, so now let's say that you've used Burp Suite and OWASP Zap to attack websites for your organization. You've been asked to do so. You found vulnerabilities, and oh my goodness, you need to block web application attacks. So let's look at some countermeasures that can be used. And again, in this section, remember, a lot of these are targeted at the web application developers, the database administrators and owners, and the web server administrators. So that's what we're going to be targeting at. So a few things to think about for SQL Server injection attacks. Limit the length of user input. So like I said, this is not something that I can do if I go download a website and I'm looking at the website and I realize, oh, this website is hackable. I think I will limit the length of user input and use custom error messages. That's not up to me. That's up to the developer. So you're sitting in a meeting and you tell the web developer, I sent you an email. There are a few things that I put in there that I stole from the class I took last month. And those are, do we have limit length on user input? And the developer will say, yeah, we only allow, and they'll tell you about it. Do we use custom error messages? And the guy will laugh and say, yeah, they all say there was an error. All right, good, I like it. And so you go down this in terms of input validation and escaping dangerous characters and language-specific libraries and domain validation and LDAP filters and validating and restricting the amount of data returned to the user. These are things that you're going to discuss with your developer. This is not something that I can't do this. I can't help change a web application that's vulnerable. Then there are things to do for broken session management, sensitive data exposure, XML external entity attacks, broken access control, and each one of these is for the developer. This is stuff that you steal from the class and you use for your emails to your developers. And the developer's like, wow, I had no idea you knew so much about it. I mean, you are talking about identities and credentials that are stored in hash form. We don't do that, but wow, I didn't know you would even think about generating cryptographic keys online, or I didn't know that you knew anything about avoiding insecure IDs to pretend, all this stuff. XML unmarshallers. Have you ever used an XML unmarshaller? But I tell you what, if you're a developer, you develop web applications, you use XML unmarshallers. Right? And if you're going to do that, it really needs to be configured securely. This is something that you need to tell the developer. So my point in all this is this is not for me or for you. This is for me and you to use when we're dealing with a web application developer. Other things that we deal with our developer on are security mechanisms, making sure that we disable unused services, making sure that we have good roles and permissions, making sure that we scan the site for vulnerabilities, scan the app for vulnerabilities, deal with SSL, validate headers and cookies, and cross-site scripting issues, looking for those. And maybe even, this is something if you are one of the network engineers that you can assist your web developers with, maybe, but also it's something that on a software basis, web developers deal with all the time, and that is web application firewalls to block certain types of scripts and code execution, converting non-alphanumeric characters to HTML character entities before displaying user input in search engines. Wait a minute. Make sure you get that done, all right? Want to have that done by, a few minutes. No, this is something your developer is going to do. The programming people are going to do this. All right, other things to do, and again, for insecure deserialization, you have to check out your trust boundaries. In some cases, and this is not just for insecure deserialization, but there are several cases for web applications where in order to make the application secure, you have to tear down the app and completely re-architect it. And that's definitely the case if you have poorly implemented serialization. You need to regularly patch, regularly check for vulnerabilities, making sure that you have a SIM that exports all your logs and that they can be analyzed, and making sure that you're not being attacked. And there are tools that you can use to test your web application for security. NStalker is a web application security scanner. Acunetics. Oh, look at, there's Metasploit again, the all-around gigantic giant in the room toolbox to help you with every aspect of hacking. Powersploit, Watcher,